Breaking news! Something happened at Ravens training camp that left fans stunned. Two of the team's most exciting offensive weapons suddenly became question marks just weeks before the season opener. One was seen being carted off the field, sparking fears of a season-ending injury. The other vanished from practice, reigniting old concerns that fans hoped were behind him. But the real twist? What was first feared to be devastating might not be so simple after all. Conflicting reports, optimistic timelines, and hidden concerns, it's all unfolding fast, and we've got everything you need to know. But before we move on, make sure you hit that like button if you're a true Ravens fan. It's always amazing to see fans of all ages supporting this team. And if you feel like it, comment, "Go Ravens," to show the flock your pride. Now, let's dive straight into the chaos unraveling at Owings Mills. Just a day ago, news started circulating with a jarring image, tight end Isaiah Likely being carted off the field. If you're a Ravens fan, you already know the thoughts that ran through our minds. Achilles? ACL? Season-ending disaster? We feared the worst. But Jeremy Fowler of ESPN provided a key update. It's a small foot fracture. Ian Rappaport quickly followed up, confirming that Likely will undergo surgery this week and could miss about 6 weeks. However, the bright side? Week 1 is still very much in play. That's right. Despite the surgery and the foot fracture, the team believes he could be back by the time the Ravens take on the Bills in their season opener. John Harbaugh also confirmed this optimistic timeline after training camp, giving fans a much-needed sigh of relief. And let's not forget, this could have been a lot worse. Just the mere word surgery during camp usually sends players spiraling into long-term recovery. But not this time. Now, think about what that means. 6 weeks from now lines up almost perfectly with the start of the season. It's a race against the clock, but one that seems winnable. Likely is only 25, still young, still resilient, and if his work ethic is anything like we've seen in previous years, there's a solid chance he'll be ready for the Bills. This matters more than some may realize. The Ravens opened the season with an absolute gauntlet at Buffalo, then home against Cleveland and Detroit, and then back on the road against the defending Super Bowl champions, Kansas City. 3 of those 4 games are against division winners, and 2 of them are away. It's going to be brutal. It's going to test this roster immediately. Now, let's be honest, Isaiah Likely isn't the focal point of the Ravens' offense, but he is a key cog. He's dynamic. He stretches defenses and forces matchups that coordinators lose sleep over. Last season, he showed flashes of his potential. With Todd Monken pulling the strings and Lamar Jackson distributing the rock, this offense was already expected to be explosive. Losing Likely, even for a few weeks, would create a dent. But the hope that he'll return by week 1 changes everything. It allows Monken to go into game planning mode without having to rewrite the playbook. Thankfully, Mark Andrews is still very much a Raven. He's healthy, he's experienced, and he's proven he can carry the load. Even if Likely is forced to miss the first 1 or 2 games, Andrews' presence gives this offense stability and leadership. Last season may not have been his most productive in terms of yards, but his red zone presence and trust with Lamar were elite. Outside of one mishap in the playoff game against Buffalo, he was arguably the most dependable weapon Lamar had. And speaking of weapons, the Ravens still have an embarrassment of riches on offense. Derrick Henry joins the backfield. Zay Flowers, DeAndre Hopkins, Rashad Bateman, they're all here. The passing game doesn't lack options. So, even if Likely isn't 100% by week 1, this offense can still move the chains, score touchdowns, and put pressure on any defense in the league. Still, let's not overlook what Likely brings. This is a player who, when healthy, provides mismatches all over the field. He lines up inside, outside, in the backfield. He's a chess piece, and those are hard to replace. That's why the injury, even if only 6 weeks, is significant. It forces Monken to adjust. It shifts responsibilities, and it takes away one of the more creative elements from this offensive design, at least for now. Now, while the Likely situation seems under control, another storyline is unfolding, and it's not one we're excited about. Wide receiver Zay Flowers was noticeably absent from practice, sending shockwaves through the fan base. Jonas Schaefer pointed it out first. Zay was seen favoring his leg at the end of practice the previous day. For those with sharp memories, you'll recall that it was a knee injury that kept him out of last season's playoff games. That's what made this absence feel eerily familiar and deeply concerning. However, John Harbaugh stepped up to calm the nerves. He labeled it a camp-type injury and mentioned Zay should be back in a few days. That sounds reassuring. But let's be real, fans aren't easily convinced, especially when we're talking about a player as critical as Zay Flowers. He's coming off a breakout season, over 1,000 yards, and is poised to become one of the premier wide receivers in the league this year. You don't want him starting the season at less than 100%. If you watched last year, you know what makes Zay special: his ability to create separation, force missed tackles, and rack up yards after the catch. Statistically, his avoided tackle rate per reception and per route were among the best in the league. He's a menace in open space. And what's more exciting is how Monken is utilizing him in camp, moving him into the slot more often, leveraging his speed and shiftiness to take advantage of mismatches. With DeAndre Hopkins outside, Rashad Bateman running the Y, Zay sliding into that Z or slot role makes this wide receiver trio lethal. But for all that to click, he needs to be fully healthy. And that's why this small injury, even if it's labeled not serious, is worth monitoring. Because here's the thing, camp injuries are common, yes, and most of the time, they amount to nothing long-term. But this one feels different not just because of Zay's absence, but because of the context. This is a player who missed the most critical games of last season due to a knee issue. And now, just as he's on the cusp of elevating to WR1 status, he's dealing with something again in that same area. That's enough to raise eyebrows, even if John Harbaugh tells us to relax. And while Harbaugh is known for his steady hand and positive outlook, he's also been around long enough to know how to manage expectations. Calling it a camp-type injury is about as vague as it gets. It doesn't tell us if it's a tweak, a sprain, some soreness, or something more complex. It's the kind of comment that offers optimism without commitment, and Ravens fans are justified in reading between the lines. Now, we do know Zay finished the previous practice, even if he looked a little slow doing it. That's a positive, and there's been no report of him needing tests or scans, no mention of being ruled out long-term. So it's entirely possible this is exactly what Harbaugh said it is, a minor training camp hiccup. But if there's any hint of swelling, instability, or recurring pain in that knee, the coaching staff needs to be extremely cautious. Zay's value to this team in September and October far outweighs what he can offer in the last week of July. Let's look at what's at stake. Zay Flowers isn't just another fast receiver. He's Lamar's spark plug, the guy who can turn a 3-yard slant into a 25-yard gain, the one who takes pressure off Hopkins and Bateman, the one who forces defensive coordinators to commit a safety or a nickel corner just to contain him. His yards per route in the slot last year, 2.10, compared to 1.85 when lined up outside. That's elite territory. That's why they're experimenting with him inside. He's not just an outside speedster anymore. He's a technician. He's evolving. And then there's the chemistry. This is year 3 for Lamar and Zay in Todd Monken's system. That continuity matters. So many teams shuffle offensive coordinators, install new playbooks, and take half the season just to figure out their identity. The Ravens don't have that problem. The plan is in place. The pieces are here. But they only click when Zay is healthy. Which brings us to another layer of this situation, depth. Because while the Ravens have one of the deepest receiver rooms in recent memory, it's still a young group. Leonte West and Devontae Walker have both impressed in camp. They're making plays. They're climbing the ladder. But they're not Zay. They're not first-round pedigree. They're not proven weapons under the bright lights of a primetime game. So while it's comforting to know there are options behind him, let's not kid ourselves. This offense is at its best when Zay Flowers is 100%. Now, there's no need to panic just yet. The good news is he hasn't been ruled out of anything long-term. No MRI scare. No announcement that he's shut down for weeks. And if this really is just a precautionary sit-out to make sure he's 100% for joint practices and preseason, then it's a smart move. The last thing you want is for this to snowball into something more serious. The Ravens medical staff knows what they're doing. They've handled soft tissue and joint injuries well in the past. But the key now is patience. Zay's game relies heavily on explosiveness and lateral movement. If he's even 90%, it changes how he plays. It changes how defenses react to him. And it changes how the rest of the offense operates. That's how vital he's become in just a short span. So here's the reality. If Zay Flowers is healthy and Isaiah likely makes it back by week 1, the Ravens have a chance to come out of the gates swinging. This offense could light up the scoreboard against anyone. But if either one of them isn't ready, or worse, if Zay's injury lingers, it puts a lot more pressure on Hopkins, Bateman, and Mark Andrews to carry the early load. And that gauntlet in September? It doesn't care who's healthy. Buffalo, Cleveland, Detroit, Kansas City. These teams are coming for Baltimore. They've seen the moves,